Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. War. Today we're going to be finding the surface area of a cone. A cone is a solid with a circular base and a vertex. Here I outlined all the characteristics of your cone. Notice that at the circular base, if you go from here to here, this is what we considered our radius. The line that is standing straight, that is making a right angle, meaning that it's perpendicular, that is your height. Notice we have another height, the slanted height. Now here they use an L, but on the GED formula page, they actually use an S for slanted height, and then you have the vertex. So you have to be careful when you're finding volume of a cone, you actually use the vertical height here. But when you're finding the surface area, we use slanted height. So here, this is the formula. S equals pi r squared. So you have to find the area of the base right here, plus pi r L. But on the GED, it's going to be pi r S. So then you have to find the area of the lateral surface. Now, I've looked through a lot of problems dealing with the surface area, and I noticed that on some of the exams they ask students to find the lateral surface area, and if that's the case, this is what you would use, pi rs. That gives you the lateral surface area, which means the surface area that is at the top, excluding the base. So I don't know, on the GED exam, they may be asking you for surface area because they, in their standards, they did say find the surface area. They did not say anything about finding the lateral surface area. But again, if you have to find the lateral surface area, you're only using this portion of the formula, pi rs. Now, let's look at two questions where you have to find the surface area of a cone. And in these exercises, you have to round to the nearest tenth. So the first two, let's start with this one. We have a cone. The 3 right here is your radius. And the 6 right here is your S for the slanted height. So we'll just write our formula. SA equals to pi rs plus pi r squared. Again, you don't need to memorize these formulas. They will be on the formula page. Now for this example, I'm going to use 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to replace pi by its numerical value. R has a value of 3 and S has a value of 6. Plus 3.14 replaces pi and R is 3 and we have to square. Once you have replaced all the variables by their numerical value, you're now going to get your calculator and we're going to just plug everything in. I like to be accurate, so I'm going to use parentheses. Open my parentheses and I'm going to put in the first, which is 3.14 times 3 times 6, close the parentheses, add, open my parentheses again, 3.14 times 3 squared, and close the parentheses. Once I'm finished, I'm going to hit enter. I get a value of 84.78, and that would be square inches. But because they said round to the nearest tenth, the 7 is in the tens position, the digit to the right is an 8, which means that this 7 is going to increase by 1. So your answer is 84.8 square inches. Now, because a cone has a circular base, they can give you radius or diameter. So I made sure to give you a cone that has diameter. So this red line that is cutting the base of your circle in half, which is 8 yards, is your diameter. Now, if you notice in the formula for surface area, there's no D, there's only R, which means we have to do a first step by finding the radius. The radius is half of the diameter. So whatever your diameter is, you're going to half it. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. So if we just go from the center to the outskirts right here, that would be 4 yards, and that is your radius. Our formula is SA equals to pi RS plus pi R squared. Now in this example, I'm going to let pi stay as the symbol pi. So this will be pi, radius is 4, and your slanted height is 12. Plus pi, and my radius is 4, and then that's squared. Now these numbers are pretty simple. So 4 times 12 is 48. So this will be 48 pi plus, and 4 squared is 16. So this will be 16 pi equals. Now once I get here, I'm going to get my calculator, and I'm going to put in 48 pi plus 16 pi. Enter, and I get a value of 64 pi. Now they want your answer as a numeral, so we have our calculator. We just need to hit the toggle right here. My answer is 201.06. Because we're rounding to the nearest tenth, the 0 is in the tenth. The digit to the right is a 6, which means the 0 is going to increase by 1. So my answer is 201.1 square yards. Now on the GED exam, they can ask you to find surface area, and then they can ask you to find the slanted height, meaning that they'll give you the surface area and they'll give you the radius and ask you to find the slanted height. And that's what we're going to do in these last two problems here. So my surface area is 104 square inches. My radius is 3, but I have to find L, which is my slanted height. So SA equals to pi RS plus pi R squared. I know my surface area is 104. For this example, I'm going to replace pi by its numerical value, so that's 3.14. My radius is 3, and I'm trying to find S, which is my slanted height, plus 3.14, which is multiplying by 3 squared. 104 equals, we're going to need our calculator. So I'm going to take 3.14 and times it by 3. That gives me 9.42. And don't forget your S, plus 3.14 times 3 squared, 28.26. Now remember, we're solving for S, so this looks like a two-step linear equation. So from solving for S, I'm going to get rid of the 28.26. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract 28.26 from both sides. $104, take away 28.26, 75.74 equals to 9.42s. And finally, solving for s, I'm going to divide both sides by 9.42. So s has a value of, all I have to do, I have to 75.74. So I'm just going to hit divide by 9.42, enter, and my answer is 8.04. Now just as below, I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. So the 0 is in the 10th position. The digit to the right is 4. Now because it's less than 5, that 0 would stay. So your slanted height is 8 inches. In my last problem, the surface area is 126 pi. So notice they have pi here as a symbol. So again, SA equals to pi RS plus pi R squared. Now your surface area is 126 pi. So because they have pi here, I'm going to keep my symbol as pi. Now I notice here that this red line is cutting my circle in half. So this 12 here is my diameter, which means that for the radius, because that's what we need for our formula, I'm going to have to take 12 and half it. So our radius is 6 centimeters. So this will be 6. We don't know what our slanted height is, so it's going to stay S, plus, keeping pi as the symbol, and our radius is 6 squared. So I have 126 pi equals, this would be 6 pi S plus 6 squared is 36 pi. Now, solving for S right here, we want to get it by itself, so we're going to first get rid of the 36 pi. So I'm going to subtract 36 pi from both sides. Because this is like 36 pi, this is like saying 126 pi minus 36 pi. Or if you don't like to say pi, you could say apples. 126 apples minus 36 apples. So you can use a calculator here. Okay, 126, put the symbol pi, minus 36 pi, and you can enter, you get 90 pi. Equals to 6 pi S. And again, since we're solving for S, we want to get it by itself. We're going to divide both sides by 6 pi. So all of that cancels. You have S, and get your calculator. So we have 90 pi divided by 6 pi. So if we have, you can go 90 pi divided by, and I'm going to put this in parentheses, 6 pi, because sometimes this calculator is a little bit funny. Yeah, so you have to kind of put it into parentheses, and that gives you 15. The reason I did that is because if you type 90 pi divided by 6 pi, simply like that, the calculator is reading the 6 pi for some reason not as one term but 2 terms. So it's like they're taking 90 pi and divided by 6 and then times it by pi. Because when you hit enter, notice you get 148. The calculator is taking 90 pi and dividing it by 6 and then multiplying it by pi. Yep, that's what it's doing. So notice what I did is I put some nice parentheses around it. Some nice parentheses. Or when you're here on your test, these pi's would cancel each other and then you're just doing 90 divided by 6, which is 15. So please be careful with this calculator when you have to divide by your 6 pi. So another thing you can do is go 90 pi, hit equals, change it to a value. So you have 282.74 divided by 6 pi. And also change that. That would be 1885, 18.85, 85, that's a 5, 85, and 282.74 divided by 18.85, and you get 14.999, and then when you round it, you're going to get 15. But again, it's up to you, but if you're going to use your pi's, please remember, put some parentheses if you want to. That's why I always put parentheses. 90 pi divided by 6 pi. There's nothing wrong with being careful. Your answer is 15. I hope you found this lesson helpful. If you're new to the channel and you like the content, please subscribe. If you found this lesson enjoyable and informative, please like. If you know someone who is going to soon go take their GED exam, please share the channel. And as always, if you have any comments or concerns, drop them below. Good luck on your GED examination.